What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a mid-high taper on my boy, so stay tuned. We're gonna be starting off by laying the hair down with my comb, making sure everything's nice and flat. Now that we're done laying the hair down, we're gonna start off with the back taper and use my Gold FX to create my first guideline. Now that we're done creating our first guideline with our Gold FX, we're going to switch over to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. Using the lever midway and all the way closed is going to help us remove the second guideline that we made with our lever all the way open. Now that we're done blending out our first guideline, we're going to switch over to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. Using the lever midway and all the way closed, we're going to soften up this guideline, getting it ready for the half guard. Once we feel like the line is soft enough, we're going to switch over to our half guard to erase it completely. Now that we're done with our lower guards, we're going to switch over to our two guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. Now that we're done softening up the guideline with our two guard all the way open and midway, we're going to then switch over to our 1.5 guard to erase the line completely. Sometimes there's still a faint line after using your 1.5 guard, so switching over to your one guard all the way open would definitely help. Now that we're done with our two guard, we're going to switch over to our three guard all the way open and flick out as much as possible because we are getting into the higher levels. Now that we're done with our three guard all the way open, we're going to switch over to our six guard all the way closed and flick out as much as possible near the occipital bone. As you can see, we're evening at the top with the same guard, and we're going to make sure everything's nice and even. Using our 5 guard all the way open, again, we're going to flick out as much as possible, blending into the darker areas. If you guys are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Once we're done with the back taper, we're gonna move on to our Goat FX and line up the sides. I usually start off at the bottom and work my way to the top arch. You also want to be careful not to apply too much pressure in this area because the skin is usually softer and you could cut them. Now that we're done lining up the back of the ear, we're going to use our Goat FX to create our first guideline. Be sure not to press too hard because you don't want to make a super harsh guideline on your first attempt. Now that we're done butting them out with our Goat FX, we're going to switch over to our shaver and make sure everything's nice and bald, removing the stubble. Moving on to our no guard all the way open, we're going to create our second guideline. It's going to be about 1 inch to 1/2 inch thick. Be sure to use your lever midway and all the way close to help you remove that initial guideline you created with your Goat FX. Once we're done blending out our initial guideline, we're going to move on to our 1 guard all the way open and create our third guideline. Once you're done softening up the line with the 1 guard all the way closed and midway, you could then switch over to your 1/2 guard to erase it completely. Again, now that we're done with our lower guards, we're going to switch over to our 2 guard all the way open and prepare for the 1.5 guard. Once we're done blending out the 2 guard, we're going to then move on to our 3 guard all the way open and flick out as much as possible. We're using the corners and half the blade, so make sure not to use the full blade because you could mess up the side taper. It's always good to go back in detail just to make sure everything's nice and crispy. Again, it's always best to detail, so I'm going back with my 1 guard all the way open using the corners. Moving on to this beard, we're going to then use our no guard all the way open to create our first guideline, and where it's pretty much a blend but reversed. Always be sure to stretch the skin with your finger. Now that we're done with our no guard all the way open and closed, we're going to switch over to our 1 guard all the way open and flick out as much as possible and go with the grain. We're going to use a 7 guard on the beard just to clean it up and get the frizzly hairs out the way. applying this to outliners, we're gonna then line up the bottom of the beard and make sure we start off at the middle, working our way to the sides. You also want to make sure you're not pressing too hard in this area, because usually the skin's a little softer and you could bite them with the teeth of the trimmers. Moving on to the front line, we're going to spray some hairspray to get the lining a little bit crispier and sharper to the touch. I usually start off on the middle and work my way to the sides. It's always easier for me that way. Always be sure to keep the corners natural, and especially the side area. Again, we're starting off at the middle and working our way to the sides. Now that we're done with the lineup, we're going to lay our client down and put some shave gel in the areas I'm going to use the razor. This is so that the razor could glide better and he doesn't feel pain. When using the razor, you always want to keep it at a 45-degree angle and stretch the skin as much as possible. This is the finished product, man. I hope you guys enjoy the cut. Like, comment, subscribe. Love y'all.